welcome to Healthy Kitchens, Healthy Lives. This is our spring edition of the cooking class. And for those of you who don't know me, my name is Dana, and I am the Integrative Functional Dietitian here at Lifescape. I've been doing these cooking shows through the entire COVID lockdown and beyond, and we just are going to continue with the flow. What I've done is added some changes to the class, and one of those is Jessica. Jess is a guest today. She works here at Lifescape. She's one of our star medical assistants, and now our star prep cook. So she's been kind enough to offer up some time. And as I always say, when you're in the kitchen with somebody else, it's more fun.
It is.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's more motivating to be in the kitchen with someone else. And also, I think it's really therapeutic too. I don't know about you, but when I was growing up, no matter how big a house I lived in, all the people ended up in the kitchen.
Yeah, in the kitchen.
Surrounding the table, or where the bar stools were.
The prep area.
Yeah, exactly.
Same in my house.
Yeah, so the kitchen is what I call the heartbeat of the house. And it's because we're all drawn to each other and to nourishment. And so that's what I really want this series to be about, is finding ways to nourish yourself through whole foods and through connection. And if you don't have other people to cook with, which normally is the case, because I can't steal Jess and bring them home with me, but you can even just virtually connect with people, like with a FaceTime or something, and cook with a sister or a relative who doesn't live nearby, or maybe an uncle, or something like that. So anyway, what we're doing today is a fan favorite. We're revisiting the crunchy Asian salad, and it's a little bit off camber because today's Cinco de Mayo. But I just felt like this salad could really transcend cultures and provide us with a dish that you could bring if you're going to a Cinco de Mayo, or just to enjoy anytime moving forward. Because of our temperatures rising, there's nothing more refreshing than a cold crunchy salad. This salad is designed to be all plant-based, meaning we're not putting any proteins in it today, but there are proteins available that could be added. Like, what would be a protein you would like in an Asian salad?
Grilled chicken.
Yeah, absolutely. Like strips of grilled chicken, maybe even some marinated or grilled shrimp would be nice. You could even put in some salmon if you like that kind of thing. So you can make these recipes your own. As I always say, recipe is a suggestion. It's a template for creativity. And if you're not sure how to be creative, then you just make the recipe.
Right.
And then you once you feel comfortable and confident, you can change things up.
Tweak it to
So,
how you like it.
Yeah, so what we're going to do today is start with the base of the salad, which is Napa cabbage. And I've gone ahead and already shredded this, and I just cut it into fine slices, and then put it together with a little paper towel to soak up the extra liquid. Because Napa cabbage, I wanted to show you, this is half of the cabbage. This is just a half. So you can see that it was actually significantly big. I think that the standard for Napa cabbages are usually around 3 pounds, 3 to 5 pounds. So this is a really economical vegetable because you get a lot for your purchase. Yeah, exactly. And so you can see some of the outer leaves aren't as exciting, a little bit banged up. So I just would peel those off and use still the bountiful amount that's still here. And what you want to note is I cut this one in half because it was so big, and there's the little core at the bottom. And you would just cut out the core and then really rinse, open up all the leaves and really rinse it out thoroughly, because little bits of dirt or maybe even some bugs could be in there. And so you want to make sure that you don't get grit in your salad, because I'll tell you what, there's nothing that ruins a good dish more than chewing on dirt.
Right.
When that's not intended. So you can buy Napa cabbage at most grocery stores, and the cashiers probably won't know what it is when you go through the line to check out, because it's not commonly used. But Napa cabbage it's also referred to as Chinese cabbage, And it's part of the Brassica family of vegetables. That may not mean a lot to you, but Brassica is actually the technical name for cruciferous, which is a little more familiar for people. So cruciferous vegetables are a family of vegetables that include kale, Brussels sprouts, broccoli, cauliflower, all of those really hard, crunchy vegetables that have this unique texture to it. Like you can see, this cabbage is kind of got like a ruffling to it, which is different than the smooth cabbage. So all of those vegetables have in common is the primary reason I think of cruciferous is to support detoxification in the liver. And there's no better way to do that than with lots of fresh produce. So that's one of the primary benefits of being in that family. Also, Napa cabbage is really high in soluble and insoluble fiber. And we want to balance those two out because soluble fiber helps soften the stool, and insoluble fiber helps move the stool through the GI tract faster. So that is another element of detoxification, is making sure that you have regular bowel movements and that they're formed and easily passed. Not for TMI while we're cooking, but I do get into the dietitian part. So with that being said, let's go ahead and put this stuff together, and I'll probably talk a little bit more about some of the
I have a
benefits of
question.
that. Yeah.
If you can't find, for whatever reason, Napa, could you use regular cabbage or purple cabbage if you like that?
Yeah, you know, actually, thank you for saying that, because not everybody's groceries going to carry this all the time. In fact, when I bought this one, there were only 3 Napas. So when I took one, there were 2. So who
Right.
knows? Yeah, you can, absolutely. So substitutions are encouraged and recommended so that you can still get the benefit of all the flavors and the other vegetables in the salad. You could do even a blend of green and purple cabbages.
That was my next one.
Yeah, you can change it up. Like today we're using orange bell pepper as part of the salad combination, just cut into slivers. But you could easily switch out to a red pepper or yellow pepper. So depending on what color your base is, you might pick other colors to complement it. That's another really good point, is that I always ask my patients, try to get 2 colors for every meal. So, and they think, oh no, how am I going to do that? Well, it's actually not too difficult if you're eating fresh whole food. If you're eating processed food and brown food.
Everything's the same color.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
It's a lot harder. So yes, you can substitute for you guys out there who want it. Maybe you have some cabbage on hand right now and you just want to use it and make this recipe. So that would be fine. So what I'm going to do is ask you, Jess, if you could help me start making a dressing. One of the tricks that I learned from some really good chefs over time is that you want to dress your base first and then add in the rest of your vegetables so that it gets a chance to really coat all of the lettuce or the cabbage properly. So let's get going on the dressing. And what we're going to do here is I'm going to have you measure into this bowl. Use these teaspoons. We're going to pour in the dressing ingredients as they're listed. And I made it nice and easy for her, so I prepped everything so she could help me make it easy. And I want to say that while I was making the dressing, making all of the ingredients, I found it to be very therapeutic to just be methodically chopping and cleaning and just breathing and being easy with myself. And I find that my mind starts working on other things that are going on in my life while I'm cooking and finding some resolve. So I don't know if you experienced that. Yeah. So she's putting in apple cider vinegar right now, and this is from Bragg's. This is an organic apple cider vinegar. We always refer to it as the mother because it has a starter in it. It's fermented. Some people will use apple cider vinegar in water to help improve digestion and boost hydrochloric acid or stomach acid. It's pretty strong. Yeah, it has a really strong smell like right now, and we're not even whisking it yet.
It's good in cabbage soup.
There you go. Yeah, absolutely. So now she's adding some coconut aminos. This is an alternative for those that don't want soy. and it's the nectar from coconuts. It's it's a sweet, salty, and so it's very much like soy sauce, and it's super enjoyable. I use coconut aminos on leafy green vegetables, especially from the cruciferous family. So if I have collard vegetables, which are one of my favorites, I will saute those in some oil and then add the coconut aminos for a little bit of sweet salty at the end. It's a really nice way to transform your dishes and easily found at most markets these days.
Two of all of these.
Yeah.
This is why I don't cook.
The recipe says one, but I doubled it because I put a little more cabbage in the bowl than the recipe called for. So I want to make sure, I'd rather have an abundance of dressing than not enough because I really want to make sure there's a lot of flavor. Remember too, don't be afraid of dressing. I have so many people that just squeeze some lemon on and don't use any oil. Oil is really essential because it helps draw out the fat-soluble vitamins in the salad, and it brings more satiety to the meal. So it's not something that we need to skip. We just need to be mindful of the quality of the oil that you're using. So here, because this is an Asian salad, we're using toasted sesame oil. And this is also something I got at Sprouts. As you guys know, I love shopping at the Sprouts by my house on Pinnacle Peak and Scottsdale Road because they have pretty much everything. So this one is toasted sesame oil, which I find is even a little more special. It's kind of like smoked paprika. It's just elevating the spice or the oil to another level of flavor. So that's what she's got going in there. And now she's adding some fresh ginger, which is easily obtained. And I just cut off the skin and then I just rough chopped it. You can also grate it as the recipe says. I find when I grate ginger or garlic, most of it gets stuck in the grater and I don't get much out of it.
Yeah.
I don't know if you- And also I'm really nervous about cutting my knuckles because I did that before in the kitchen.
Right.
So all that whole combination makes for not a good situation.
Should we buy the bigger piece of ginger so you can hold it way back here?
There you go. That's an idea. That was a really good idea. So I just enjoyed the chop, chop, chop. And she's added that in. And now she's going to put in the zest from a lime. And lime zest is just like lemon zest or orange zest. There's actually a lot of nutrients right in the pith or that kind of white spot that's right underneath the peel itself. And also there's a ton of flavor in this. So this is a step that I wouldn't ask you to skip if you can. If you don't have a microplane, it is difficult to zest. So this might be a tool you want to add to your kitchen, and then you can start zesting all over the place with oranges, lemons, limes, and you can use it on top of cooked vegetables and salad and wraps. You know, the sky's the limit. And what I tell people is cooking is about flavor and simplicity. So it's not necessarily that you need 10 ingredients to make something taste fabulous. You just need a couple of really good ones. And herbs and spices and zest are a really good example of how to do that.
Now, how much of this do you zest? Do you like peel the whole thing?
Yeah, this recipe calls for the zest of the entire lime. And these are small, so we can go ahead and do that. You know, just to your comfort level of holding the lime. And then as she's doing that, I'm gonna go ahead and just cut another lime that I pulled in half. And you can still use the lime that's been zested, but just for ease of time, I'm gonna go ahead and do that. Perfect. So then, when she's done, we'll go ahead and have her squeeze some fresh lime juice in. I'm just gonna have you do the big half, and then we'll taste it and see how it is. I just realized that I may not have, no, we're good, actually. Usually I add a little salt to my dressings, but I'm just realizing that with the coconut aminos, that probably is gonna give it enough salt that we don't need to go anymore. But you can certainly do it to taste, taste preference. So one of the other things I wanted to touch on about Napa cabbage as Jess finishes up the dressing is that it's really a rich source of a diverse number of nutrients. I'm just gonna name them off because it's actually mind-blowing how much is in this very simple, very sweet-looking little cabbage. We've got folate, which helps support DNA synthesis, lots of B vitamins for energy, vitamin C for immunity and decreasing inflammation, vitamin K to help support bones and the synergy of calcium itself. We've got copper in here and iron. Both of those work together to build red blood cells. Copper helps with boost your immune system, and iron helps transport via hemoglobin oxygen around the body so that we don't feel fatigued or worn out and have energy to cook and do other things. It's got calcium in it and manganese. Manganese is really important. It helps with building connective tissue and blood clotting. It's not a nutrient that we're used to hearing about. We need it in really small amounts, but when it's not in abundance, it's noticeable. And I do find when we do micronutrient testing, which you're familiar with, we're putting in charts and looking at, we see sometimes manganese deficiency for people. And that's where I really wonder if they're eating enough whole unprocessed foods, because otherwise they'd probably be okay getting it. And then finally, this is a really antioxidant rich vegetable, and it contains 4 or 5 different antioxidants. I love saying these names, so I'm just gonna share. There's lutein, sulforaphane, zeaxanthin, and thiocyanates.
I'm not gonna try
Those
to
are,
teach
she
you.
doesn't have to follow my lead there, but just know that antioxidants quench free radicals and help prevent things like heart disease and accelerated aging and even things like cancer. So
All
anytime,
good things.
yeah, anytime you have an antioxidant-rich meal, you can feel good about what you're serving everybody. Okay, so if you want, just
Do
go
mix
ahead
this
and
first?
whisk the dressing with the fork. And if you have an actual whisk, that works really nicely. And I'm one that cooks with my nose. I don't know how you guys feel about that, but I always like to smell the flavors and get a sense of how that's tasting. If you want, we can actually give that a little quick
I'll let
try.
you try.
So I'm just gonna take a dip in there. Oh, that needs more lime for sure. Which is why you want to try this before. Now, say you didn't try it and you poured it on, and then you tasted the lettuce. You could still add the lime onto the salad. It would be fine. But I can tell for sure because of that, the toasted element of the sesame, we're going to need more lime to cut that, or more citrus. And we may need even more than that, but we'll give that a start. And I think it needs actually a little bit of salt beyond what was in the coconut aminos, but that's just my personal taste. In fact, I'm gonna just real quickly get another spoon while Jess takes over.
Smells delicious though.
Alright everyone, I grabbed some salt. And this is a pink mineral salt. And what I've learned is ideally you're supposed to put it in your hand so you can see how much is coming out and then add that in versus just pouring it straight into the dish, which is what I was doing in the past. And that's a trick I learned when I was at the Culinary Institute of America this last February with Dr. Wilder, learning about how to make all this fabulous food and bring it to the patients. And one of the classes we did was a hands-on cooking session, and the cook said, if you put it in like that as a shaker, then you can't take it away. And then you have to kind of backtrack. And the way we combat too much salt is by adding sweet or citrus. So
Sweet or sour, yeah.
yeah, exactly. So we want to hit all the taste buds equally when we're making something. So would you like to try a little bit now that we've added some more? Let's see where we're at with that.
Probably need more.
Yeah, It needs more. I had a feeling that was gonna happen. Honestly, I think it needs a little bit of honey, don't you think?
Yeah.
Something a little more sweet. I think it's that toasted element that's still really dominant. Can you use that? Yeah. Okay, so let's do some more sweet lime, hopefully. And the recipe doesn't call for anything sweet, but if you taste it and that's something you like, it's okay to use some local raw honey, especially if you want to purchase it from a farmer's market. And or a little bit of grade B maple syrup, that's fine too.
Why grade B?
I'm so glad you asked that. Grade B is less refined and it has more nutrients in it than grade A. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and at this point, I'm gonna call it good. And I'm just gonna whisk this into the greens because we're gonna have more flavors in here with the mint and the cilantro. Just make sure we get all that yummy ginger in there. Okay, so what I'll do is switch and have you go ahead and toss that together. And at this point, if I wanted to add some more oil or something to the mix, I wouldn't add the sesame, I would just add some olive oil because I don't want more of that strong flavor. So she's mixing that up and it seems like to me the cabbage is really soaking up the oil, so I'm gonna grab some olive oil real quick.
Matches your apron.
Oh, it does.
Let us celebrate.
That's so good. It's cabbage.
Okay, you guys, sorry this show is being a little bit in and out, but that's how cooking is. So I just grabbed some organic olive oil from our Lifescape kitchen. I'm just gonna drizzle a little bit of that on the salad and have her mix that up. And then also, just because I think this will help, is I'm gonna add a little bit of balsamic vinegar. It just needs a little more of that sweet, because the apple cider vinegar is kind of on the sour side. So I'm gonna just dot that as well. So this is where I say cooking is an art, and this is the hard part of learning how to cook is sometimes the recipe just doesn't suit your taste exactly like you want it, and so you need to know how to adjust. And so that's one of the tips and tricks that I'm gonna be including in the upcoming big announcement, which is I'm starting a membership-based Healthy Kitchens, Healthy You club, and we're gonna have our own dedicated spot on the Lifescape webpage, and it's going to include all these kinds of things, the tips and tricks and hacks, if you will, of how to cook, and best ingredients, best cooking utensils, how to stock your kitchen, where to shop for food, to be able to watch all the videos in one place from the cooking shows, to have educational material. So it's going to be a very robust site, and that's exactly where we're going. So now I'm just going to go ahead and have you add in some bell pepper and some English cucumber. I went ahead and pre-sliced everything.
All in it?
Yep. For me, well, maybe, yeah. We can pull some out, yeah. I always end up cutting more than I end up needing.
I just like to go for it.
Yeah, no, that's fine. And you can always add some more back in, but we have more to put in. So we'll just start with that, perfect. And you can mix that in. And any leftover vegetables, obviously you can use in a different salad, or you can put in a stir fry.
Or just eat it as a snack.
Snack, yeah, or you can dip it in hummus or some baba ganoush.
Feed it to my children.
Exactly.
Eat all the time.
Yeah, they're growing. Exactly. And then we're gonna go ahead and, as she's mixing, I'm gonna add in some sliced snow peas or sugar snap peas. Which one did I get?
Snow peas.
Snow peas. And then I just took a peeler and just peeled the carrot down to these nice fine strips. because carrot is such a dominant vegetable, if it's not in a nice, soft, fine form, you're gonna end up just tasting carrot, and that will be it. And then as that keeps mixing, I've got some fresh cilantro here, and I love cilantro. It's so sweet tasting. To me, it makes everything better. One of our other MAs also is a cilantro fan, and she told me some of her techniques for using it, which are great. This is a little container of mint. You can't smell it obviously through the screen, but it's really fantastic. Mint grows pretty readily in sandy beds, so if it's something you wanted to try growing yourself. And so I'm just gonna go ahead and sprinkle some mint on there. And this is where the magic comes in with the fresh herbs and the color and the synergy of both of us cooking together. So now you're starting to see the salad really develop and become more robust and more appealing. And keep in mind with the cabbage base, you could keep the salad for probably up to 2 days if you didn't eat all of it at once. But after that, it might lose its crunch and its appeal. So for me, I would easily be able to eat half this salad as a meal.
Yeah.
And this is before you were here, Jess, but the girls bought me for my birthday last year. The other MAs bought me a ginormous to-go salad container because they said we can't believe how much vegetable you put in one dish. So this would easily be, for me, if it was a meal, it would be half of this. So you did a fantastic job. Look how beautiful that is. And then what I like to do is add some of the macadamia nuts. And so with this, we'll just go ahead and if you want to just use your hands and sprinkle it in. And remember, it's okay to use your hands when cooking as you washed them before you start. And touching food actually makes it come alive, and the energy in your hands transfers to the energy of the food. So if you're afraid of the food and you don't want to touch it and you're stabbing at it and poking at it, that doesn't really bring about that sense of comfort and ease in the kitchen. And I think part of what makes really good food is really good energy.
Right. Can you use different type of nuts?
Yeah,
than macadamia nuts?
you could certainly do like a sliced slivered almond in here. I think that would be
Is
really
there a
good.
healthier version? The almonds would be good, right?
Yeah, the biggest thing with nuts is just not getting them where they're already roasted and salted and maybe even have sugar added. Like Planters peanuts is a good example of a nut, technically not really a nut, but we call it a nut, that is coated with their unique blend of like flour and sugar and nutritional yeast, and they put stuff in there that makes you want to eat more of the peanut, so you're not really eating the peanut, you're eating the coating.
Right.
Yeah, so you could certainly use any kind of nut that you wanted to make this dish. Macadamia nuts are one of my favorites because they're really high in monounsaturated fat, which is a heart healthy fat, and they're usually really well tolerated by people with digestive sensitivities. So that's why I go to this one. I didn't, as a caveat, I didn't roast these in advance. The recipe calls for putting them on a tray and putting coconut oil on it and roasting them till they're brown. I didn't do that because I'm so used to eating raw nuts and encourage my patients to eat raw nuts that I don't think you need to do that stuff all the time. You can, but you can also just in a dry pan, you can just roast the nuts at low temperature to not burn them or destroy the oils in the nuts. So if they're raw and intact, then the oils are healthy and it keeps it from being an inflammatory food. So yeah, you can do different peppers, different types of cabbage, different nuts. As you can see, we changed the dressing a little bit. I think I put a little honey in here, moving forward, just to give it a little more natural sweet. And as we said, balancing all the taste buds out. But it's up to you how you want to enjoy it. Either way, just give it a go. I think it's a fabulous dish. And the staff will be enjoying it today for their lunch break. And we will be back next month with another rendition of the Healthy Kitchen's Healthy Lives class, and then look for information in your email regarding the Healthy Kitchens Healthy You Club and all that that's going to be offering. So with that being said, thank you so much for joining us. Be well.